This is Entrepreneurs Get Visible, the podcast for people who want more impact, influence, and income. I'm Anna Parker Naples, and I'll be sharing with you proven methods from leading entrepreneurs that help you get visible as an authority in your field. Because anything's possible when you get visible. Hello and welcome to Entrepreneurs Get Visible. Today we're talking about ways that you can streamline your content creation, because I'm sure if you're anything like me and you're building a personal brand online, this is sometimes a bit of a bugbear, particularly I think when you're starting out on your own or you're just starting to get VAs and freelancers to assist you. But even then, communicating exactly what you want and guaranteeing that it's good quality can be a bit of an issue. So today I brought in to speak with us today, Josh Barney, who is the founder of We Imagine Media. And I'm going to let him describe what it is that they do in terms of content creation shortly. But hello, Josh, and welcome to the show.
Hello, Anna. Thank you so much for inviting me onto this show.
So we met a few weeks ago at EMC Entrepreneurs Marketing Conference, which is run by Einstein Marketers, of which Josh is one of the creators and one of the people involved in that business. And Josh's talk was all about how you make your content better, and actually shared with us some incredible tools that you can use behind the scenes that you might not be aware of if you're designing your own content. But he's actually brought to market something that I think might make your life a little bit easier. So Josh, tell us a little bit about what it is you're doing and what you've built with We Imagine Media.
Yeah, so earlier this year, we created a sort of full service content repurposing system. So we take things like blogs, podcasts, videos, ebooks, video courses, even Zoom calls, and we turn them into social media posts. So we repurpose them, we cut out the snippets, we change the media, and we find the best, most interesting segments of them, and we turn them into awesome little snippets of social media posts. So for instance, one podcast can become tons, weeks, if not months of social media content for all your social media channels. We built out a awesome platform that basically plugs you into a professional creator on the other side, and you add your content, like your podcast, you upload it there, and it goes through to your creator who has your brand attached, and they repurpose it for you based on your brand profile.
So you're basically bringing in experts, people who are brilliant at looking at your content and working out how to make it much more visually appealing and then designing it under your brand. And I think one of the challenges when you're running your own business is finding the right support to go and do these things for you. And one of the things that appealed to me when I was hearing about your business model was that you're not paying per, you can have 3 audiograms and 5 social media posts. What you're saying is we will make that content go much further. Why do you think that's important for someone running a business?
Well, personally, I think repurposing content is the most scalable content strategy, especially in terms of time. I mean, like you just said about specialists, when you outsource something like content creation, it's very easy for that content creator to water down your messages, to miss the key points, miss your key takeaways. And that's why we really do focus on repurposing content. Things like podcasts, there's so many different snippets in there, so much value in there. When someone speaks passionately about an industry that they know and they love, it makes such a big impact on an audience. Whereas when you outsource content creation to someone else to come up with the ideas, who doesn't know your industry inside out, you lose so much of that. And in terms of a strategy that actually is scalable and gets the results and the engagement that your passion deserves about your industry, about helping those people who you like to solve problems for, there is no better way than repurposing content in my experience of content creation.
I'm sold on that. I mean, as someone who's doing regular lives, regular podcasts, regular trainings, regular social media posts, how often do we see that we create something and it's pretty much disappeared off Facebook within 24 hours? But if you're creating from just delivering once potentially, and then you've got, a month's worth of content off the back of that, that's extremely powerful for your business because you're not constantly thinking, oh my God, what have I got to put on social media? What am I going to create from scratch? How am I going to do this? And I think one of the traps that a lot of earlier stage entrepreneurs fall into is that they'll go and use Canva or PicMonkey and use some of the templates on there. But the problem is everyone's ends up looking the same and feeling the same.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree with you. The templates on these websites are very, very accessible, but they also lead to a lot of sort of audience blindness, especially with stock images. I don't know if you see these ones with like sort of quotes and half the image is like a stock image. These are things that audiences see all over social media every single day.
And
when they're
switch off
scrolling through
from.
those feeds, they're completely blind to it. It doesn't capture their attention. It doesn't inspire them, and it doesn't get across your point in a personal way. I think when you're first creating content, you have to look at how you're going to help people. So you need to educate them or entertain them. Then the next layer, you really need to think about your branding. And this is important that you don't fall into the trap of templates and stock images, because a brand is how you make your audience feel much more than how your post looks. And if you're making your audience feel nothing, then your branding is completely off the mark. And by using templates and stock images, you really are making your audience feel absolutely
really
nothing.
Really good point there. I think people get in the trap of thinking, I've just got to put out some content. It's just something's got to go up, and I'll do some generic post, but I'll put it in my colors. And actually, yes, you are ticking off that checklist of I've put content out there, but you haven't done anything that makes people sit up and notice or have a reaction. And actually, we're humans. We're led by our emotion very much. So how can someone tell whether the content they're putting out is good enough? How do we know this?
Normally, I think the best way to judge content is obviously by engagement. I find the best of the engagement is conversations. So starting conversations with your audience. Sometimes you need to go away from your channel. So you need to go and speak to your audience on their level about their content to bring them back and have conversations with you about yours. You know, social media is a two-way street. You can't just put things out there and expect people to come to you. You also have to go out there to start with, especially, and start having these regular conversations with people. And when you consistently create great content, you'll consistently have or start conversations with your audience. So it's not something that happens overnight. You can't just post something on the first day and immediately you're going to have 30 comments on there, you know?
I wish to God someone had told me that right at the start of my business 4.5 years ago, where I thought launching my business was literally the same day as doing my first post on my Facebook page, because I was totally clueless. But no, it's an ongoing conversation and an ongoing awareness. But you want people to be aware of you for the right thing and for quality. I think that's important.
Absolutely. Quality is really, really important. It's important to reach people in all different forms and provide quality in those forms like multimedia. So obviously, I know you specialize in audio, but there is obviously video to think of the back of audio. There's also written and imagery. And a lot of people miss the mark by only focusing on one form of media, like high quality, whereas people like to consume content in all different ways. Some people prefer watching videos. Their entire social media feeds are videos. Others are static image posts. And it's important that you provide quality across the board in all these different media forms.
Yeah. So what brought you into what you're doing now, Josh? What's your background?
So my background is as a writer. I actually went to university, studied English and writing. After university, I had a little period after university where probably 6 months to a year where I was feeling quite lost. I didn't know what to do. I don't know if it's something about institutional education, but you feel very safe when you're in it. And it's almost like, it's kind of like a little trick, I think. They make you feel like everything's going to be fine.
Particularly when you've done creative type courses. I did English literature as well. I can remember that feeling of, what now? What now that I'm not in the big bad world and I haven't trained to be in corporate? Where do I go from here? What does the world look like?
And I don't know. It took me some time, 6 months to a year, and I felt really lost at the time. I eventually got a job as like a junior writer for a sort of middle-ish size company. And this is probably about 10 years ago now. So the internet was still it was very popular, but it wasn't as established as it is now. And I was writing all sorts of rubbish things, product descriptions, little blog intros, website snippets on welcome pages, these sorts of things. And it really didn't live up to my expectation of what I thought life would be like. In fact,
a degree educated writer could be doing with their talents.
Absolutely. So, after a while, I stuck with it thinking perhaps this is going to get better,
Yeah.
Maybe for a year and a half I was there. And in the end, I just couldn't face writing another product description, like SEO optimized, all the rest of it, just packing keywords in. It was basically being able to string out a bunch of keywords in a way that appealed to search engines and made sense to readers, right? So I left there, and I think that's when I started to realize that I don't have to work for someone else. I started to unlearn a lot of the things that I'd learned at university and in education that have helped me get to where I am now. A lot of people talk about how important it is to keep learning, but it's also important to unlearn a lot of things to
break away from the institutional structures that hold our world together. And actually life doesn't fall apart if you don't follow the narrow yellow brick road. I don't know where that came from, but we'll go with that analogy for today. And so now you've created Reimagine Media, and where did this stem from?
So I was working for Einstein Marketer, and part of my work there as director, I was managing the content side of the business. So as part of that, I was also writing a blog for Einstein Marketer, which I just love writing. So it was something I was more than happy to do on a weekly basis. We had a social media manager, but at the time, after I think he was there for a couple of years at the time, he wanted to do something else. He wanted to actually move into the Facebook ads management for our clients. So he wanted to be an account manager, and decided to let him do that. And then a space became clear for social media creator and manager. So I was thinking, how are we going to solve this problem immediately? So instead of hiring someone out, my first thought was, right, I've got all this content inside these blogs every single week, new stuff, amazing takeaways to the audience about content marketing, social media marketing, all our strengths, and we're not using them all to their maximum. So I was like, okay, let's just hire someone who can find these small parts and turn them into social media content. So it took a little bit of training, maybe a week. I sat down with a VA who came from a design background, and I showed them how to find the best piece of content within the content, what snippets will work really well on social media, how they can design them in a way that's best for the audience to sort of take in, And after a little while, we got down into a great rhythm, and I was like, surely there must be a solution for this. Surely there's someone else that offers some sort of service for other people in our situation, for businesses who perhaps in a middle ground between being able to hire someone that costs £2,000 or £3,000 a month as a full-time position, but also wants to hire someone that they can trust and can create great content and doesn't know about content and training them up. And that is where the idea for Reimagine Media came.
I love that, because as an entrepreneur, you realize there's a need for this. If I have this need, other entrepreneurs are going to have this need. And so
absolutely, yeah. I mean, I think the best businesses come from a place from people who know a lot about their industry and spot the opportunity, a gap for people who can be served, who have a problem that needs solving. And I think, or I hope, that's what our business does. And that's what it seems to do for our existing members anyway.
Amazing. So where can people come and find out about it then, Josh? What's the best place to go?
They can find us. The best way is just to come straight to our website, which is at weimagine.media.
Okay.
Weimagine.media.
Great. We'll make sure that that's in the show notes underneath. And I agree. I think when you notice that you have some expertise in an area and there's some people that are being underserved, why don't you fill that gap? I've certainly, for me at the moment, I was saying to Josh off air, I'm not announcing it publicly yet. We've got something that we're building behind the scenes because I've had my eyes opened up to the fact that there's an opportunity. And I think that some of the best businesses, that's the thing we're good at as entrepreneurs. We see the gap, we decide we're going to fill it, and you put your energy and you take the action to make it happen. Thank you so much for coming on today, Josh. Go check them out, Reimagine Media. And if you're struggling with your content, why wouldn't you want to engage people to work with you that are going to be sensitive to your brand requirements and can work on great deadlines as well with quick turnaround? So definitely go check them out. Thanks for coming. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much, Anna.
Thank you for listening to Entrepreneurs Get Visible. To get your free checklist on how to raise your profile and to find out about our community, go to annaparkernaples.co.uk/get visible.